I've been spending a lot of time on album tracks and on originals and stuff. I thought today I might just have a bit of a bootleg. So I started this one the other day, just had a bit of a play around. It's been an a cappella that I've been sitting around for a while that I've been meaning to do something with it, and yeah, just feel like I made a quick start to it the other day, and I'm just going to work at it a bit more today, hopefully not spend too long on it. I'm going to try and do it within about an hour, and just try and piece together the track. Really rough and raw. This is going to be just for my own set, so I don't even have to worry about mastering it fully. Just you know, just kind of push forward with it.
Introduce to you a brand new dance. I know you're gonna love it if you give it one chance. It's not complicated, it's not too hard. You don't even have to be a hip hop star. See, anyone can do it, all you need is style. Listen up, beat gang, I'ma show you how. Put your hands to the side, as silly as it seems, and shake your body like a salmon floating upstream.
So it's just a rough idea at the moment. I've got a few stabs in there, got my bass in there. I went for quite a funky bass, kind of a real kind of bass. It's quite a deep one, that one. I'm also using Neutron on it, something a plugin that I've just started using recently. It's really good for analysing your track and picking out frequencies that need to be cut or need to be boosted, and it does quite a good job actually. I mean, obviously this is all stuff that you pick up with experience, but this is a kind of good head start. It's not a cheat, but it's certainly a good head start. I'm not a big fan of the exciter that's in it, because that tends to ruin most of the stuff that I put it on. Sometimes it's good on the drums, but yeah, it's a great starter if you're trying to EQ an instrument or a bass or something like that. So I always check it on the bass just to kind of cut out some of those horrible frequencies. With this one, it's cut one about 400 hertz. Yeah, so it's already doing its job. So I think you need to cut a bit more off the bottom though, because it's getting a bit subby. That's the good thing about real bass and real bass sounds, is that they've got quite a lot of top end, so it's almost tricking your ear into thinking there is more bass sound in there. So you can cut a bit more off the bottom end, and you still you can hear that bass, and it still comes through. And then of course you're not having to limit it and everything on the master channel.
You don't even have to be a hip hop star. See, anyone can do it, all you need is style. Listen up, beat gang, I'ma show you how. Put your hands to the side, as silly as it seems, and shake your body like a salmon floating upstream. I'll float down. You know how we do it, 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 you know how we.
I've just looped that vocal up, but it's on the same channel, and I want to do some more effects to it, so I'm going to duplicate it and move it onto its own channel so I can do my own stuff with it. Just get rid of all the other bits.
Know how we do it, you 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 know how.
going to put a bit of filtering on that, just to gently filter it in and out.
Know how we do it, you 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 know how we do it. How we do it. When I first did the salmon order, you know how we do it. When I first did the salmon order, people just laughed. They looked around and stood like I was on crack. I heard somebody say out loud, what the fuck is was on crack? I heard somebody was on crack. I heard somebody say out loud, what the fuck is that? This nigga's dancing like a fish while he's doing the snap. But the more I kept doing it, the more they were feeling it. And then I heard some bitches say, yo, that nigga's killing it by the end. But the more I kept doing it.
The acapella seems to be going out a bit. It might have been, it might have come from a vinyl actually. I can't remember where I got it from.
But the more I kept doing it. But the more I kept doing it, the more they were feeling it. And then I heard some bitches say, yo, that nigga's killing it. By the end of the night, everyone was on my team and the whole club was dancing like a salmon floating upstream. I'll float.
I like the way Adam's asking when it's available. I'm working on it now. It's not. I don't know when I'm going to finish it. I'm going to try. I want to finish it for a gig that I've got in February. I'm playing for Forte beginning of February. So it will. Yeah, it will be done before then. Whether I'll give it out, no idea. Yeah, there's lots of other stuff coming out anyway. I've got there's a brand new release on my record label today. Duo called 2015. They got a track called We Knew. It's out on Tracksource today. Thought I'd get the plug in there a bit for that. But yeah, that's a really big track on my label, and we've got the remixes coming out next month as well, so they're going to be pretty big. I've done one of them, and we've also got one from Harvey Wallbanger, so that's going to be cool. And I'm still working on album stuff as well, so this is just a break from it.
Know how we do it. When I first did the salmon order, people just laughed. They looked around and stood like I was on crack. I heard somebody say out loud, what the fuck is that? This nigga's dancing like a fish while he's doing the snap. But the more I kept doing it, the more they were feeling it. And then I heard some bitches say, yo, that nigga feeling it. And then I heard some bitches say, yo, that bitches say, yo, that nigga's killing it. By the end of the night, everyone was on my team and the whole club was dancing like a salmon floating upstream. I'll float down. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. Know how we do it.
kind of how I do most of my arrangements. It's almost kind of playing it live. I'm actually just arranging it as I go, rather than it's kind of way of just feeling through the track, rather than planning out, that's where I want my break to be, that's where I want this to be. I'll just be listening it through and just just kind of almost kind of taking stuff in and out live, so that I'm keeping that kind of feeling. I'm knowing what I'm feeling what it's going to do next. Yeah, so I'm kind of assuming where I'm kind of feeling like kind of where the breakdown's going to happen. So that's kind of where I've got this feeling where I'm going to just kind of take everything away and then bring everything back in again. This is not a kind of real massive build-up kind of thing. We're not going to have a big snare roll in there. This is just a groover, kind of a mid-set kind of track that's just kind of nice to drop. So I'm just kind of copying and pasting the elements, and I'm going to add like more layers as this goes on. I try and get just the essential bits, so I got the essential drums, the bass, the vocal as I've got in this case, and some of the stabs, but I'm going to come back later once I've kind of got the whole structure of it going, the arrangement of it going, and then I kind of put stuff in it, so I kind of in where all the breakdowns, where it's sounding quite, there's not much going on, it's sounding a bit rough and raw. I'm going to keep that feeling, but I want to kind of put some stuff in there just to kind of tidy it up and make it, make it sound more finished. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment.
Gonna love it if you give it one chance. Let me introduce to you a brand new dance. I know you gonna love it if you give it one chance. Know how we do it, you know how
Peeps spend part of their life.
Wow, very interesting.
We change rap a couple of days. All my peeps spend part of their life in fresh water and part of their life in salt water.
Know how we do it.
All my peeps spend part of their life in fresh water and part of their life in salt water.
Wow, very interesting.
We change rap a couple of days after spawning. Then we die.
When I first did the salmon motor,
All my peeps spend part of their life in
interesting. Wow.
I remember the Hervé remix of this when it originally came out. Used that wow, and I'm going to use that in the break there just before it all comes back in again.
Wow. 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 Wow.
All my peeps spend part of their life in freshwater and part of their life in saltwater.
Wow. First with the salmon, know how we do it. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. When I first with the salmon, all the people just laugh.
I've kind of run out of vocal now. I don't want to make this too vocally, but that's the whole point of doing a bootleg, is that you're kind of taking bits from the original, the bits that people recognise and they can kind of they can sing along to, or they at least know the words. And I kind of run out of acapella here. So I'm kind of faced with a dilemma. Do I reuse a bit of the acapella, or do I try and chop it up for the breakdown? I'm just going to play around with it and see what bits I can find.
I was dancing like a closer. You know how we do it. 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 Oh, how we do it. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. How we do it. Yeah. You know how we do it. Do it. You know how we do it. We do it.
I think I might use a bit of an echo on that. It's a standard trick just to make things sound a bit longer, just to kind of go off. So I'm going to put it on a send channel, nice ping pong delay, 100% wet, really long one actually, and then just send it to that and see what we come out with.
You know how we do it. Oh, how we do it. You know how we do it. Wait, 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 wait,
And it's still going. I think what I might do is actually automate the send channel and put reverb after that actually, because that might sound quite cool. Just like, because the echo's still going, but I kind of want to affect that echo. That might be quite interesting.
You know how we do it. You know how we do it. Wait, 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 wait,
Okay, that sounded quite cool. So what we got is going is this ping pong delay. It's already quite long, and I've got the reverb after, which is actually kind of affecting the reverb. So we're just making it. The reverb is kind of going from 0% dry to about 50%. So we're getting this really kind of this opening up effect coming, and it kind of fills the breakdown. So you've taken away all the drums and everything else like that. So you've just got that kick and the bass in there, and it's just kind of expanding on that vocal, making it sound bigger and bigger.
you know how we do it. You know how we do it. Wait, 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 wait.
one more, I think one more kind of vocal sample in there. I'm going to try and loop up stuff that's already there. There's got to be something else in there that I can loop up that will sound cool.
Let me introduce to you a brand new dance. I know you introduced to you a gonna love it. If you not complicated, it's not too hard. You don't even have to be a hip hop star. 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 Be a Let me introduce to you a brand new dance. I know you're gonna love it if you give it one chance. It's not complicated, it's not too hard. You don't even have to be a hip hop star. 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 Be a hip hop skip hop skip hop skip hop skip hop skip hop skip hop. Wow. Hip hop star. Be a hip hop star. See anyone could tell. Much to the thing. Brand new dance. You don't even have to be. Anyone can do it. All you need is style. Listen up, beat gang. I'ma show you how. Put your hands to the side, as silly as a thing, and shake your body like a salmon floating upstream.
Okay, I might just use the rest of that actually, and I'm going to give it a gap instead now. So at the end of that verse, it's just going to have the break.
Now put your hands to the side, as silly as a thing, and shake your body like a salmon floating upstream. Wow.
Still doesn't work.
Let me introduce to you a brand new dance. I know you do dance. We're brand new. Introduce to you a brand new dance. A brand new dance. A brand new dance. I know you complicated. You don't need to start. Be a hip hop. Do it. All you need is peep gang. I'ma show you how. Put your hands.
Just scanning through the audio file, see if I can find a loop in there, something that I can repeat. Not one that I've used before, but something a bit different, just to kind of give that build up.
Fresh water and part of life is fresh water and part of then we die.
When I first understood the morning the snap, at the end of killing by the club was dancing, floating up, lining the whole club was dancing, teaming the whole club was dancing like a sun, whole club was dancing like a sun, whole club was dancing, lining the whole club was dancing like the whole club was dancing like whole club was dancing. In the whole club was dancing, liming the whole club was dancing, liming the whole club was dancing like in the whole club was dancing like in the whole club was dancing like in the whole club was dancing like us in the whole club was dancing like us 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 the whole club was on my night era. That niggas kill it, just say yo that nigga heard some bitches and I'll flow. Wow.
I think in this case, I'm not going to be able to use any vocal. It's just sounding too repetitive and I'm using too much vocal. I tend to go back and forwards on using too much vocal and not enough vocal. If you've noticed any of my stuff in the past, it's got a lot of vocals in. That's kind of what my hooks are. That's kind of what I use for most of my patterns. And, you know, that's the main part of my track. So, yeah. The only thing I can think of doing is actually moving the second verse to that breakdown.
You know how we do it. You know how we do it. You know how we do it. When I first did the salmon, all the people just laughed. We do it. You know how we do it.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I'm going to just undo it all and try and move it all back. Yeah, that's not working.
We do it, you know how we do it. When I first did the salmon, all the people just laughed. They looked around and stood like I was.
Actually, I'm actually thinking I might not even do that fuller breakdown. Maybe just do a track without a full breakdown, because there's nothing to break down to. So I might just kind of break down after that echo and then put the wow in. I think it's probably going to work out better.
You know how we do it. You know how we do it. You
whole structure there. It's really rough at the moment, and I've kind of got so many bits to add into it. You're probably going to think that unless you're in my head, you actually hear what I'm hearing. There's like with that breakdown, I know bits that I'm going to add to it, bits that are going to kind of ramp up that kind of breakdown and make that kind of wow seem even more pronounced. But yeah, that's kind of what I go for. I go for that this is my arrangement now. That's it. I might change it at some point, depending on if I come up with some other ideas that sound better, then I might move it around a bit. But that's generally my rough. That's now my rough template. And I'm going to go through and now I add all the interesting bits. So I'm going to put some vinyl noise in there just to make it sound a bit kind of rougher. It's kind of a really easy kind of trick to kind of put in there to make something sound a bit more vintage, a low level of vinyl in there. I'm going to put some atmosphere within the breakdowns, just so we got some, so it's not just empty space. You've got some kind of atmosphere in there when there's no beats or anything happening, and you've got those big empty gaps. It just kind of makes it sound a bit more live, kind of like it's part of something. So I'm going to put them in there. Going to put some effects to ramp it up, to ramp up the breakdowns. Got to get some crash cymbals in there as well to announce new bars and stuff. I might even see about a fill or something in there just to kind of, yeah, again, move it along a bit. And then to kind of finish it off. So it's kind of doing stuff, moving along really quickly. If you're doing a bootleg, you don't want to spend too much time on it. It's not going to be released. It's, it's only for your own sets. You want to make it, playable, but you want to make it, fun. It's got to be fun. And that's what I always love doing bootlegs. They're a great way it's a great way to get into producing because you don't have to worry about, most of the track comes from the original track. So that's what you're kind of basing it on. You'll just put a bit of your take on it. And that's kind of why I like bootlegs. And that's why I got into producing doing bootlegs. Because it's good just as original content for your set. A lot of producers kind of get into start off with producing now, and they want to make their, the first track they make is going to be their original track, completely all original. Everything is tailored. They've all, they've just come straight out of doing a course, or they've come out of university or whatever doing it, and they're doing, everything their own original work, and that's great. But it's a really steep hill to climb to come out with your own original sound, and for that to be your first track. So I got into it with edits and bootlegs, and I like going back to doing a bootleg every now and again. It kind of refreshes your kind of creative juices almost, just to kind of to work with something fun rather than trying to have this target of I have to make a track, or I have to make an album track, or this has to do well in the clubs. All you're thinking is your own set and what fits in with your own set, and kind of what you think the crowd will like. And it's cheeky little numbers like this that kind of work. I don't think this is actually, it's not one of the most popular Chemical Brothers songs, but it's certainly, when it was released, it was everywhere for ages. So hopefully this will kind of bring back some good memories. And as I say, it's my kind of take on it. So you don't have to abide by any rules. You don't have to worry about what anybody thinks. This is for your own set. If you choose to give it away, again, that's your own thing. I might give this away at some point on my mailing list. But generally this is for my own sets. So I'm making it for myself, which just sounds a bit selfish, but I like to think I'm doing it for the crowd as well. And the ones that have, that want to hear my stuff and my sound. So this is my sound. This is what I like doing. So this is what I do. So yeah, so now it's going to be tidying the track up, and this is going to take quite a while. So I might record this for a little bit. I might go on a bit longer with this, just while I put some layers in and stuff. But I don't want to bore you guys too much, because this is the really kind of time-consuming part. This is the bit where you could be tweaking it for ages. I'm going to try not to, because this is a bootleg and not an original track, so I don't have to make it perfect. But I want to make it as good as possible, and I'm probably going to spend a little while on it. So I'll leave this recording. Feel free to kind of hit me up, give me some comments. If you're watching this back at a later date, then feel free to comment on it, and then I'll always reply to the comments if you've got any questions or anything. So yeah, I'm going to continue on with this. If you want to know anything, just comment, and I'll keep checking them every now and again. I can see there's quite a few people watching, which is quite nice. So yeah, I'm going to continue on with this and see where we can go with it. First I'm going to get the vinyl sound, and I've got a massive sample collection I've collected over the years, you know, there's good little kind of effects packs that you can get from, I mean, this one's from Sample Magic. I love Sample Magic, all their stuff is brilliant. But yeah, you can just find sample collections that have dirt noises almost, so it's like vinyl and crackles and tape and static kind of effects. You put it really low in the mix and it just kind of gives a texture to the sound. With digital kind of tracks, we're used to, things are always so clean, and you can hear like dance music and house music especially going back to being quite raw kind of sounding now, because we're trying to go back to that kind of warmth that we had before. And whilst this will never be pressed to vinyl, well, I don't think so anyway, it's nice to have that vinyl sound in the background, because it's that nice kind of warm, crackly. I think it almost kind of it reminds you of being in front of a crackling fire. Right, I've got to call this a day because I have just heard the door go. So that's the realistics of working from home. So I might put this on a bit later, but you'll hear the full track very soon, hopefully. So I'll see you guys later.